All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man, Jay. I know strange view here. It'll change in just a second here, but this is my M1 Max Studio. Now, I've had this since the beginning of 2023, I believe, because I had other Macs and stuff like that. I had the Mac Mini, I had the other generations, but I ended up going with the Mac Studio just for processing power. Now, this thing, I got to tell you, even though it's a desktop computer, it has been I just know what to say. It's been beat to crap. There's chips and nicks. I've knocked it off from my desk before. Anything you could think of has happened to this Mac. I've spilled stuff on it. It still works, and I'm surprised. So I'm comparing this to the new Mac Mini. I looked more at performance and ports and things like that. So because the Mac Mini is extremely impressive for the price. I mean, I've got 32 gigs of storage in here, obviously, RAM, 32 gigs of RAM. And this is a processing beast. So we'll look at, side-by-side spec comparison of the new Mac Mini, because there's going to be a lot of people out there who have the M1 Max, and I don't suggest you sell it. Because some people get that itch and they just have to get the new thing. I'm that person. I'm not saying that I'm not. Sometimes I just have to have the latest and greatest because I want to try it. I'm a believer in tech, and I believe that you should try anything once, maybe twice, like eating food. Try it twice just to see if you'll like it or not. But when it comes to tech, this costs way more than a piece of salmon. So this thing has been beat up pretty good physically. I mean, it's been... everything has gone through the paces, but I'm going to compare it now spec-wise to the new Mac Mini because this is way more expensive than the Mac Mini. But the reason I'm comparing this is because I could clear up a lot of space on my desk. I will lose something, but the M4 chip definitely is not as powerful as the M1 Max, but it's powerful enough, and I gotta wonder, is it really that much difference in performance? And the only way I'll know that is if I buy the new Mac Mini. But first, let's take a look at the Mac Mini, the new version, spec-wise, next to my old and nicely broken in, kind of speed up nicks and chips everywhere. Yeah, it's definitely has some wear, but it still works like new. That's the most important part. I can multitask on this thing. I can beat it to crap and it'll still work. So now let's jump on the computer and let's take a look at this Mac Mini spec down, run down spec. You know what I'm saying? Okay, guys, so I went straight to the compare screen because we don't need all the other fancy animations on the website. Let's just get straight to it. So here is my Mac Studio M1 Max, and and it also has the Ultra in there too, but you've got 2 miles over here, but it just kind of gives the difference. So right off the rip, I'm going to tell you the Max, the M1 Max, the one that I have, you'll see these up to. Well, I actually have the 10 core with 2 efficiency and 8 performance. That's what I have on this M1 Max. So it's basically the entry into getting a Mac Studio. 32 gigs of RAM, and I have 10 cores. That's what I have. So we're going to get down. I'm actually going to go to actually buying one, but this is just to kind of show you the differences here. This is why I'm considering just going ahead and picking up the new Mac Mini, because it's going to be on the level of my Mac Studio, I believe. So here we go. These are all the cores and all the RAM and stuff you can get. I believe that 16 gigs of RAM is nice with the way Apple's chip is, because it's just a lot. The way they put their chips together, it's enough. So let's get into the actual system information. So right now, I told you this is the one I have right here. I have 10 cores, CPU, 8 performance, and 2 efficiency. Here's what theirs has. The entry level. It has 10 cores, but 4 performance and 6 efficiency cores. That's a huge difference in from the Max. Now, if I were to go to like a Pro model, it'd probably be closer to that, or just a regular model. And I'll go ahead and pull up my MacBook Air 15 real quick here. I have the MacBook Air 15. So you can see here, look at this. When it's the ones that are trying to be really efficient, you get more efficiency cores. So, and you don't get as much performance, but this is the thing right here. These 8 performance cores, that is important for processing things. But I will say that my MacBook Air 15, it really can hammer down. It can hammer down. So right here already, you see that the entry-level M4 chip, it bests the M3 chip in efficiency. Yeah. So if I go up to the next iterations here, you can see how the performance just gets better here. Now, if you go to a Pro chip versus an Ultra chip, this is where things starts to get really interesting, because you can get up to 14 cores and up to 20 cores here, but the efficiency is the same. And the performance, while has more on the Ultra, it's still, I believe the Pro chip is going to be a very, very strong performing computer. I believe it is. It's obviously going to be more efficient, but if you're doing computer programming and editing, things like that. And also, I want to say that my MacBook Air 15 actually is the entry level. So it has 8 gigs of RAM. And folks, I can tell you, the way Apple puts their things together, it is just really, really strong. I can edit 4K 60 with no issues on the computer. The laptop is a beast, and it is genuinely very long on battery, and it is a peak performer. So that is why I'm considering the M4 chip. I'm not even considering the M4 Pro. I'm just considering the M4. But we shall see. So I'm gonna just go ahead, and this is all the rest of the options that you can get here. You can get up to 64 gigs on the Pro and up to 32 gigs on the regular M4. So and here's the storage. You can get up to 8 terabytes. They're pretty much kind of matching this Max here, even though I only have the 512 gig version of this, and I also have the 256 gig version on my MacBook Air 15. Because I have a lot of external SSD drives, and they're huge. I got terabyte drives and stuff like that, so I don't really worry too much about it. Because if you edit on an SSD, it's just as fast if you have to do that. But typically, I just edit on my Mac and then I back up elsewhere. I have a huge cloud server at the house, and anyway, that's that. So here's another thing that's kind of cool. They have it saying that you can support up to 3 displays, but it doesn't say 4. It doesn't say XDR displays. So that's something to keep in mind. But nonetheless, the size and weight difference is astronomical. It's a big difference. Period. It's a big difference. That's a huge weight drop. 6 pounds to 1.5 pounds. Size is going to be a lot smaller. It's a good thing. And as far as speakers go, I don't worry about that. Now, here is where you get into something that's a lot different. If you saw at the beginning of the video, the Mac Mini doesn't have a full-size SD card slot. It doesn't have any of that. No, it does not. You still get your 3.5, and it says it supports high performance headphones, which I do have, and you got your HDMI port. Everything's still there. It's just that there's no SD card slot, and then also you're going up from Bluetooth 5.0, which it really isn't that big of a deal, to 5.3, but the Wi-Fi is a big deal. But on my Mac, I'm hardwired, I'm plugged in, so it doesn't really matter. I have an Ethernet port. So, and on here you still get that 10 gigabit Ethernet port, and that's just what it is. I do use Wi-Fi sometimes, but yeah. So you get 2 USB ports C's on the front, and you get 2 on the front again of the Max, as you saw at the beginning of the video, but you also see that card slot right there, which is not available here, which is a big thing to me, because that means I'd have to start plugging everything in through Type-C, and I don't want to really do a dongle per se. But on the back here, you get 3 Thunderbolt 4 ports and 3 Thunderbolt 5 ports on the Pro. But over here, you just get 4 and 4. You get 6 and 4. You get 6 on the Ultra, and you get 4 on the one that I have the Max. So small differences there, but they are huge differences depending on what you're doing with it. So let's go up here and let's click pre-order. So as you can see here, all of them have 16 gigs of RAM. That's the most important part. And then also, they also bumped out the MacBook Air 15, their MacBook Air line, to 16 gigs of RAM. So they're getting smart with this because they know that these things are high performance and they know that people are going to use them that way. So this again makes this really appealing. 16 gigs of unified memory is just monstrous. So right now you're just paying for memory with these two. Pretty much you're paying for a little bit more RAM and a little bit more memory on this one, but I don't see the logic there. That's why I'd say I'd just stay right over here. I don't think paying $200 for 256 gigs of extra storage where you can just get an external SSD, it'll be faster than Apple's storage. But then you go down here, there's only one Pro model. There's only one Pro model, and it is the one with 12 cores and 16 cores GPU. So this is why, for me, a person who has an entry level M1 Max, this could work. It could work. Anyway, it's your man Jay. What do you think about the new Mac Mini? I think it's a steal for $599. It has 16 gigs of RAM and a unified memory, they call it. And it's just a win. It's going to be so much faster than nearly every PC I have, which is kind of sad. And I have a lot of laptops that are really fast. I have laptops that are 32 gigs on the RAM, and they still don't process and edit videos, or I should say export and produce and edit faster than my entry level MacBook Air. That's just crazy. Anyway, it's your man Jay. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. What do you think about the new Mac Mini? Should you get one?